Listen very carefully and follow my instructions. Prepare your brain for the Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast.
I gotta tell you, being an entrepreneur, I will not go through the rest of my career without taking nootropics. Aniracetam, piracetam, modafinil, Noopept, uridine monophosphate. I mean, phenylpiracetam, forget it. You can always have a better brain.
The Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast is about to begin.
Episode number 88 of the Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast. What's up, everybody? I am your host, Ryan Michael Bell. Thanks so much for listening. Look, a couple questions came through about some stacks with Noopept and oxiracetam and primiracetam and rhodiola, and then a stack with Noopept and phenylpiracetam and vinpocetine. And it just so happens that we've got two stacks in a book of ours that we wrote called the Noopept Pro Stack List, which has a bunch of Noopept stacks that kind of have similar ingredients. I have like those ingredients in them and then other ingredients, and then there's kind of explanations for how those stacks work. So I want to break down those two stacks in this podcast just to give the person that sent that email some clarity on how to combine these things together, the best way to combine those compounds together with Noopept and a few more compounds. And I think this is going to be super educational to show people like what stacks work with Noopept and some of those compounds, and also really taking a look at the nootropics methodology infused into each of these stacks. Okay, so we're going to break down the stacks in a sec. This is going to be a pretty quick podcast. First, product. Right now, Cortex Stack, our nootropic stack, on sale for $28 if you use the coupon code 5. Just type in FIVE as a coupon code at livecortex.com, and you can get a bottle of what's being called the only pre-made stack that works for $28. You can do that right now. If you need my help personally on anything related to nootropics, we have a consulting service, pretty awesome service used around the world. It's a 40-minute Skype call with me on nootropics. And a lot of the time, I think what I find that we're doing in these calls is we're formulating stacks that work for people. That's what we're doing for the particular things they need to get done. You know, I'm a doctor. I need more brain function. I'm going through med school. I need more brain function. I'm in a university in a different kind of context, need more brain function. At work, trying to get a promotion, need better brain function, have brain fog, etc. And then we're finding stacks that work for people. Get the consulting service at livecortex.com. If you're new to nootropics, we wrote a book for you. It's called Smarter, Better, Faster. Teaches you everything. Teaches you how to use nootropics. The best book on nootropics you'll ever get. Buy that at livecortex.com because it's digital and you can download it like today. And a new service, if you have gut-related issues, SIBO, LPR, or GERD, we have a consulting service on that. We can help you get out of it. Get that at livecortex.com. Okay, so primer on Noopept. Noopept is a Russian pharmaceutical nootropic compound. Been around for a while. It has a cholinosensitizing effect, so it basically enhances the way that the brain sends acetylcholine to neurons, and it's powerful. It also has been demonstrated to increase the expression of brain-derived neurotrophic factor and nerve growth factor. These are like very reparative kind of proteins in the brain that you need for neuronal tissue repair and growth. And that's a real critical thing considering that as you age, the brain starts to atrophy in kind of various ways in which having more nerve growth factor and brain-derived neurotrophic factor can help, at least to attenuate to a significant extent. And so that's one of the major reasons people are into nootropics, and especially Noopept. Noopept, the dose is really 5 to 40 milligrams. I'm good at like 12 or 13 milligrams, and the stuff basically changed my life. We did a podcast on this, and I've mentioned it several times throughout our content that I was unable to really be good at reading comprehension before I started taking Noopept. I always had a big problem with it, and then starting to take Noopept basically allowed me to, ambulance driving by, fix that problem both while I was on it, and then sort of after that, there's a combination of Noopept and other nootropics that I've been taking for quite some time that I didn't have a problem with that anymore. So much cool stuff about Noopept. We'll go into insulfating Noopept, spraying it up your nose, and oral or sublingual Noopept, and that's in the Noopept Pro Stack List, one of our digital books. Buy that at livecortex.com if you want all that. But the question came through about Noopept, oxiracetam, primiracetam, and rhodiola, and then Noopept, phenylpiracetam, and vinpocetine. So I want to address two stacks that are like that and have those compounds and show the nootropics, sort of strategic nootropics administration methodology infused into that, okay? So here's the first stack. I just want to give you the first stack. And so listen carefully. The first stack is 5 milligrams of Noopept, just 5. It's 1,000 milligrams of oxiracetam. It's 100 milligrams of pramiracetam. Now, at this point, you're probably going to need a lot of choline because that's a lot of choline burning stuff. So then there's 300 milligrams alpha GPC. But then we bring the rhodiola in. There's 400 milligrams rhodiola in that stack, 300 milligrams tyrosine, and 100 milligrams of 5-HTP. So what we have there is we've got very stimulating nootropic compounds. So and quantities, high quantities of choline burning compounds. So we have alpha GPC at a high dose in there, but we have L-tyrosine, which is stimulant-like, in there also. So the whole thing is very stimulant-like. But then we have rhodiola in 400 milligrams and 5-HTP in 100 milligrams to sort of synergize with that and calm some of the stimulation down so you can get a balanced nootropic stack. Here's the explanation. There is a philosophy in the nootropic sphere that sometimes you really want to work on all neurotransmitter systems with stacks, and this stack does. This stack is a cognitive processing and storage-centric stack that adds in stimulation, collectiveness, and calm, and neurotransmitter balance for a pleasant, stimulating, focus-oriented experience. Okay? So that's how I would put together Noopept, oxiracetam, pramiracetam, rhodiola. I would add those other compounds in there, and it'd be essentially, that stack, which I think is a really, really cool stack. And that's one of the stacks that with Noopept, if I really want to just feel really awesome and get a lot of work done, I'll take. The next stack is 10 milligrams Noopept, 100 milligrams phenylpiracetam, 175 milligrams of CDP choline, 10 milligrams of vinpocetine, and 300 milligrams of ashwagandha. Now here's the explanation. This is a powerful stack. Applies a specific methodology that I often espouse of bringing in hardcore stimulating, highly effective compounds, but balancing them out just a tad with something that either lowers stress hormones or optimizes calming neurotransmission. And then it goes on to say that phenylpiracetam stacks extremely well with Noopept in these doses, and vinpocetine adds a mental clarity effect to most cholinergic stacks. That's like kind of just a tip to take away. Ashwagandha lowers resting cortisol, making this stack a highly functional focus and memory stack with a background motivation and a serene undertone. It's almost like we're talking about wine here. It's like the palate is particularly black grapey and leaves an aftertaste that smells like oak, like tastes like oak. Like that's kind of how you can look at nootropics, especially if you're putting together complex stacks like that. Each compound in the stack has a very specific purpose and is dosed in specific quantities, okay? So that's how I would dose all those compounds. Usually that sent that email, ryan@livecortex.com for more emails. Thanks for sending the email. I hope that answers your question. There is certainly a way to put all those together, and it's in my opinion and experience, it's basically the dose breakdown that I just broke down for you folks, okay? So I hope that makes sense. For more stacks like that, buy the Noopept Pro stack list. That you can get that at livecortex.com. If you're really into memory, optimizing memory, you should buy the Noopept Pro stack list. That's the best memory enhancement via nootropics book there is on the planet. And it's digital. You can get that at livecortex.com. All right, the rest of our stuff, the Cortex stack on sale for $28 right now. Just use the coupon code 5FIVE. That'll save you some money on what's being called the only pre-made stack that works. Cortex X powerful stack, very strong in the eyes of our users. You're going to notice it. You take it, you'll be like, all right, awesome. I'm motivated. I'm focused. I want to work. I'm verbally fluent. I'm ready. Buy Cortex at livecortex.com. Our consulting service, if you need my help on anything related to nootropics, go to livecortex.com and buy our consulting service. It's a 40-minute call with me on nootropics. Mostly we just suggest stacks to people, help them find stacks that work for them. If you're new to nootropics, buy Smarter, Better, Faster. That's our book that teaches you everything you need to know about nootropics. It's digital. And if you have gut problems, we have a consulting service on gut problems, mainly LPR, SIBO, and GERD. It's an hour call with me and some additional email correspondence. Get that at livecortex.com. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Rock on. Hey, more inventory on Cortex coming in soon, so we'll be running some great specials by October timeframe. But right now, still running specials on Cortex. Coupon code 5 saves you some money. You can buy the stack for cheap, and it's a pretty darn good stack. Okay, so buy some Cortex at livecortex.com. Thanks for listening. Check us out on the web at livecortex.com/blog, and rock on.